Right, okay, your lesson title for today is Dónde, Vives, Where Do You Live? It's the same title from our lesson last week, but just in a bit more consolidation work. So going over what we've already learned, and then we're going to push it on a little step further to look at your verb, vive, to live. So we can say not just I live by the coast, but we can say, however, my friend lives in a big house. So we're also going to look at types of houses today, and then how to push that language on a little bit further using adjectives and maybe a few different tenses that we've not looked at yet. Okay, so on the right-hand side, we've got 1 to 12 in structures. You should be able to work out 1 to 7 quite easily, as it is vocab we looked at last week. Key thing for you to look at is if something's in red, it is feminine. So we've got la, the feminine, and we've got una, which is a or an, feminine, and then you've got in blue el, the masculine, and you've got un, a or an, masculine. Okay, and that's in blue. So you'll find that the slides are colour coded, and that's important because it shows you what's masculine and what's feminine. It also sort of gives you a structure, so you take something from each box. So for example, vivo en la montaña en una aldea pequeña. So if you've got an adjective, a noun here that's in red, you know you've got to pick one of the adjectives here that are in red. Okay, so basically fill in the gaps. At the end of the lesson, you can open up the answers PowerPoint and mark your work in a different. Your next slide, you are going to translate the sentences into Spanish. Again, I've given you here a suggested option. You might have found these on the PowerPoint last week, that tells you what instruction you should go for depending on your group. You can push up a level if you want. So, for example, if you're in 7 or before, you could challenge yourself by going for the first option. So, for example, if you're in 7 or before, you might want to think, right, I can translate all the sentences from memory, and I can translate them without using my book for support. Feel free to move one up to the different instruction, but try not to go the one below your group. So again, think about, where does an adjective go in Spanish? Well, adjectives in Spanish go after whatever you are describing, so after your noun. So, for example, that sentence, think in your head, right, it wouldn't be I live in a big village, it would be I live in a village big. So your adjective goes after. Right, okay, your next slide, I want you to take 10 minutes to have a look at this. So it is basically another sentence builder, so you can take something from each box again. And it gives you one big sentence. You'll see that you've got the bits in red again, and you've got the bits in blue. That shows you what's masculine and what's feminine. So take some time. You might want to make flashcards, or you might want to do look cover right check, or you might want to get someone to test you on the vocab. But it's really important that you learn this vocab, because it will come in handy at other parts in the lesson. And then we'll work on memory skills and recall rather than just using your book to look back at stuff, because that's not particularly challenging. Okay, your next slide, you've got spot the mistakes. Again, you've got your blue box that tells you the instructions you should go for dependent on your group. And if we have a look at the first sentence, it says Dónde vivo. Right, if I think about that sentence, it's a question because it's got the question marks before and after. Dónde means where, and what does vivo mean? Well, vivo means I live, so that would be where I live. Well, that's not a question, so we need to change the ending of vivo to vives. Where do you live? Okay. For 2 to 6, you've got one mistake in each sentence. It might be that the adjective has been positioned in the wrong place. It might be that the adjective doesn't agree with whatever it's describing. Number 7 has 2 mistakes in. The second mistake is slightly more difficult. You might not be able to spot it. If you can't spot it, don't worry. We are going to work on this later on in the lesson. Again, like I keep saying, open up the answers PowerPoint at the end of the lesson and go through this work, mark it and correct it in a different coloured pen. Right, on this slide, again, you've got your blue box that gives you the instructions for your group, and you need to reorder the sentences. My big tip for you on it is, where's your capital letter? Right, all of the sentences have the same capital letter, so vivo en is your start point. I live in or I live by. And then I would translate the chunks of the sentence to see if you can make it make sense. So we've got de Inglaterra, of England, vivo en, I live in el sur, in the south, and la costa, the coast. This could also mean I live by. So we've got vivo en la costa, I live by the coast, en el sur, in the south, of England. So really think about you can't mix up the chunks. You could, for example, Inglaterra with Sir. It would have to be Inglaterra as one chunk. Have a go at that again at the end of the lesson. You can mark that slide. As a further challenge, have a go at translating these sentences into English, as it will help you work on your memory skills as well. And if you can do it from memory, that's even better. Your next slide is all about testing yourself against time. So the sentences aren't particularly challenging, bar the one in red, my friend lives, but it's all about how quickly can you get these done. Can you be quick and accurate at the same time? So maybe give yourself 3 minutes and see how many you can complete. If you struggle with 3 minutes, maybe extend it to 5 minutes. But don't worry if you're not getting them down quick enough. You just extend that time that you give yourself, okay? And again, we can mark this on the answer PowerPoint at the... Right, okay, this slide, Dónde, Vives, I'd like you to have a think about what the Spanish means in English. So in your book, I expect you to write down the Spanish and then leave a gap and write down the English. So if you're struggling with any of these because you can't work them out from the picture, I expect you to use wordreference.com because then that promotes a bit of independent learning. So all I'm going to help you with on this is your pronunciation. So your first one, vivo en una casa. Your next one, vivo en una granja. How am I pronouncing that J? Then got vivo en una caravana. Vivo en una casa de campo. Why are all of these in red? Are they masculine? Are they feminine? What does the una mean? Okay. Right, okay, this slide again, we've got Dónde Vives. So we're practicing our pronunciation. So we've got vivo en un castillo. What sound does that double L make? Your next one, vivo en un piso en un bloque. Vivo en una rascacielos. Vivo en un chalet. Okay, like I said before, write down the Spanish in your books, work out the English, look for cognates, so words that look the same in Spanish and in English. And if you're struggling, you could go to wordreference.com, which is like a little online dictionary. Okay, your next slide. You pick the pathway again in blue, or push above if you want to challenge yourself. And in your margin, I would expect you to write A to H and label this as a listening. At the top, you have got that that sound file. It looks like a speaker with sort of sound coming out on it. All you have to do is slightly hover over it and it'll bring up the play button underneath, and you can just play it and listen to it as many times as you want. It won't play automatically. You do have to click like the play button on it. Okay. Again, I want you to mark your answers when you've finished this slide. When you finish the whole PowerPoint on the answers PowerPoint that I've provided on Show My Homework, and make sure you're correcting any answers that you got wrong. Right, okay, the next slide, you've got your verb vive, to live. It's an IR verb. We had a look at your IR verbs, not last week, the week before, I think the first week of Easter. So this is just a recap for you. So we've got your endings that are in orange at the end. And we've got vivo, I live, vives, you live, vive, he, she lives, vivimos, we live, vives, you all live, or you plural live, and viven, they live. Okay, I want you to write all of that left-hand section into your books. Make it as colourful as you want, anyway, to help you learn those endings. And then at the right-hand side, you have got the translations 1 to 7, and you've got the instructions in the blue box at the top for whichever group you are in. This is for 7 upper 1, 7 upper 2, and 7 upper 3, and you are spotting the mistakes. If you are in 7 upper 5 and you want to go have a go at this, feel free to do so, or whatever other group you're in. So you've got a banco de palabras, a word bank, and you've got the Spanish underneath. So you've got un montón que hacer, a lot to do. Cuando era joven, when I was younger. Vivía, I used to live. And me chiflaría, I would like. And basically you are just spotting all the mistakes with stuff to do with missing words, whether it's masculine or feminine. So I'll help you on the first bit. It says vivo una casa. It should be vivo en, I live in, because otherwise it would say I live a house. And then we know that una casa is feminine, so it can't be moderno, it has to be moderna. Okay, take your time on that one, as long as you need. In your last slide, you are putting everything together. So Dónde, Vive. So write some phrases, write some sentences, and then really think about that challenge section at the end. So can you add in a comparative? Más que, menos que, tan como. So more than, less than, as. Can you add in intensifiers? Muy, bastante, un poco. Can you say where other people live? For example, mi madre vive en una casa grande. Could you say where you used to live or where you would like to live? Again, that's in that orange box that we had a look at just then on that previous slide. It's really, really important on this one that you don't use Google Translate, because that will not help you. This is about showing me what you have learned. This lesson should take you up to about 2 hours, including the quiz that I'm going to put on Show My Homework. Please complete the quiz. It shows us how much you've learned and how you're getting on. And I would also like you to take a few pictures of your exercise book and upload them onto Show My Homework so I can see what you've completed of this work. Like I keep saying to you, or like I have kept saying during this PowerPoint, you have got the answers PowerPoint, so you mark your work. Please do that in another colour when you have finished this lesson. Right, okay, thank you, and I hope that this voiceover has helped you a little bit more. Have a good week and stay safe, and hopefully see you all soon.